Yo, it's me, it's the SGOTT, and I'm back with my review of The Exorcist, directed by William Friedkin. Classic film. Scariest film of all time. So I want to admit something to you guys. You probably already know, I think I mentioned it before. This is the first time I've ever watched this. Well, sort of. I watched part of this years ago, and I didn't finish watching it, and I fell asleep. So, it's years ago, in my 20s, you know. So, yeah, where do I start? Well, let me tell you, when you've never seen a movie like this before, you've never seen The Exorcist, and you're expecting a movie about a girl taken over, possessed by a demon, and it starts with some old man digging in the sand. That threw me for a loop. I put it in, pressed play, started going, and I'm sitting there and watching this, and then you get Max von Sydow, may he rest in peace, digging in the sand, and he finds something, little eminent thing. He's walking around, and he's standing there staring at some statue. And, you know, it's the statue of Pazuzu. They never say the name in the film, but it's what it is. And he's standing there. I'm just like, what? I thought this was about a girl possessed by a demon. What's going on here? I just wasn't expecting for it to start with an old man digging in the sand, you know. But, yeah. So, apparently, this demon. Now, something I don't get is that Father Mirren just so happens to find this statue and amulet in a dig in Iraq. And just coincidentally, this very same demon finds its way to a little girl in America somewhere who happens to find this thing by using a Ouija board. And it just so happens to be that very same demon. I mean, I know in the film they don't directly say it is, but other films in you know, if maybe a book says it, I don't know, but it's that same demon. So, you know, and my confusion was that I thought this was about a possessed little girl, but there's more stories to tell in this. It's not just a possessed little girl, it's what the mother's going through. It's about Father Karras and his lack of faith due to his mother's... So very confusing. So, his mother has health problems, right? Father Karras' mother has health problems, and his uncle comes to talk to him, and he says that he put her in a home. So he goes to see her, and she starts thrashing around and acting strange. The very next scene, we have maybe another, I think it's Father Dwyer, talking to the mom of Reagan's mom, and he says something about how Father Dyer, but about how Karras' mother passed away. I'm like, when? We only saw her freaking out and speaking in Italian or whatever it was, or yelling at him to, you know. We never saw her die. How did she die? And I'm sorry. I was getting so impatient with these stupid ass doctors in this movie. She is trying to tell them there is something wrong with her child. First, she brings Reagan in, they get checked, and the doctor says that it could be a form of depression, so he gives her Ritalin. Ritalin is not for depression. It is to stop hyperactivity. I know, because I have ADHD, and I had to take Ritalin when I was younger. It's not about depression. It could make the depression worse by calming her down more. It calms you. It does not stop depression. Whoever wrote this is stupid. Ritalin does not help depression. It could make it worse. That's the one thing. I'm in her put my pizza together for supper. I'm like, did he just say Ritalin? That's not for depression. It's for ADHD. All right, I know because I took it for ADHD, not for depression, for ADHD. And not only that, they're not exactly sure that it is depression. They don't know what it is. And they're just going to hand out a prescription for medication that they don't even know is going to work. That could seriously harm her. She's a 12-year-old girl. I mean, come on. So anyway, she keeps, trying to figure out what's going on. And there's one incident where she runs into she hears a noise and Reagan's yelling. She comes in and the whole bed is shaking. And she jumps on the bed and the bed's still shaking with her on it. And so they go back to the doctor and the doctor is saying that it's seizures. And I'm like, what? And even the mom's like, no, it wasn't seizures, it was the bed. The bed was shaking, I could feel it. I jumped on the bed and it was shaking. Pretty much what I'm trying to say is every time they go to a doctor or someone in the authoritative, somebody to get help, they basically try to write this off. Try to use common sense to write off what's really happening. Even when they finally sort of admit, like, that it could be demonic possession, they try to write it off that she thinks she is possessed by a demon. That she's not really possessed by something she thinks she is. Like, it's in her head. They even go as far, this poor girl, they go as far as to try to do some kind of brain surgery thing to her. Because they think it's something in her brain. Look, if you don't know what it is, then don't do anything until you figure out what it is. Don't give her medication if you're not sure it's going to work. Don't do operations on her if you don't know what it is you're operating for. You're supposed to be smart. So finally, the mother realizes that she has to go get help. So she goes to Father Karras, who's been on a little bit of a journey for most of this film anyway. And, casually talking. And so this scene confuses me for one little thing. Throughout the entire film, so when she first meets Father Karras, she asks for a cigarette. Despite the fact we haven't seen her smoke in the entire film, and don't see her smoke again. I know it's a minor gripe, but it's just weird. Why couldn't he be the one smoking? We've seen him do it throughout the film. Why does she have to be? I don't know. And then in one scene, she puts the cigarette out, and then the camera, she's talking, the camera cuts to another part, and she's holding it again. I'm like, wait, she already put that out. Because I saw her, she puts it out on the ground, and they keep walking, and they're talking, and there's a part where she turns, and then it cuts again, to where he moves around, and she's got it in her hand again. I'm like, wait, whoa. She put out. I don't know. Maybe it's a weird cut. I'm not trying to bash this film. I did like this film. I really enjoyed it. But it's my job as a critic, not an official critic, to point out stuff. You know, people can say, "Oh, you hate every movie, you point out stuff." No, I gotta point out stuff that doesn't make sense. Okay, so I'm just saying. So Father Karras, he goes and he starts trying to gather proof that it's demonic possession, and there's a point where he's like, "This is holy water," and he throws it on her and it starts to hurt. I'm like, "There's your proof," and she starts speaking in weird languages. Now, one of the things he said is that one of the things of proof is that she speaks in languages that she didn't know. The thing is speaking in Latin and in French and in some gibberish. So when he takes it to get, proof, the guy goes, "Yeah, it's a language, all right. It's English, and it's backwards." And I'm like, okay, but what about the fact she was speaking French and Latin? And sure, she could know French, but Latin's a dead language. For God's sake. But that doesn't improve. And then, after saying that it's holy water, he goes down to the mother and he goes, "I told her this was holy water. It's not. It's not proof." I'm like, if it's not, okay, I've seen stuff, demons, stuff. If it's not holy water, whether you say it is or not, it's not going to affect them. I'm sorry. But it doesn't work that way. I've seen plenty of stuff. If it's not holy water, whether you say this is holy water or it's not going to do shit if it's not really holy water. Okay? Look, I'm not trying to judge this movie. I like it. But, like I said, I'm going to call out stuff that So, there's a part where the demon Pazuzu is going crazy, yelling at Karras, and he says, "Stop the father, Marin. Stop the father, Marin." And the priest they so happen to get with this, to do this exorcism is Father Marin. However, Karras never puts the two together. He never says, "Oh, it said your name." Nope. I was waiting for him to say, "It said your name. It knew you were coming here." But nope. Nope. They don't connect that at all. It's right there. She screams it very loudly. I don't get why it's cold in there. You think if it was a demon it'd be hot? And I guess they really did make it that cold in there, because this is 1973. It didn't have no CGI or anything. But yeah, I just don't. Look, I'm not trying to hit on this movie. I think it's great. From the effects to the acting to just the overall atmosphere. Scariest movie ever made? Probably not. But it's still a good movie. I still really enjoy it. The ending, that was what got me. Okay? Now, I was confused because I know about the sequels. I know stuff about them. And I know Father Karras is in the third one. And so when the ending happened, I was like, wait, what? So, here we go. So, the exorcism they do is kind of weird. Because, it's supernatural guy. And they're supernatural. They speak Latin in there, and they Spiritus Mundus, all that stuff. Spiritus Mundus, whatever, and they, do a whole thing in Latin. Here, it's all English. And it's basically just saying prayers over and over again. And I'm like, and it just goes on. And on. And on. I'm used to quick exorcisms. Like I said, I've seen Supernatural. They're like, not like that, but they're less than 5 minutes long. Here, it's drawn out. Keeps going. And it doesn't even work. Karras goes downstairs to talk to the mother. Then he goes back upstairs. and Marion is dead. And then this thing has been trying to convince him that it's his mother for some reason. He knows it's not, but he snaps at one point and he starts punching the 12-year-old girl. Never mind there's a demon inside her. It's a 12-year-old girl that he's hitting. And he's saying, "Come into me! Come into me!" And it works. The demon goes into him. He jumps out the fucking window. There's a subplot with a police officer, an inspector, whatever, because the director, the mom is an actress, and her director was left with the daughter, and he jumped to his death, and they found him with his head twisted all the way around his neck. And I called, because they're like, it's like, and because he's like, when he told Father Karras that the head was twisted all the way around, Karras is like, "Is that normal?" And I'm like, "No, how is that normal?" But the cop says, "It could happen." I'm like, bullshit, it could happen. I'm sorry, but you can't jump out of a window and have your neck twist all the way around. That's impossible. There's no way. And so, like I say, he jumps out the window, and so Father Karras is dead. But demons don't die that way. Demons inside a possessed body can heal themselves. Again, I'm going off supernatural logic. Because in season 1 of Supernatural, Meg takes a swan dive off a building, gets broken in half, but fixes herself because there's a demon inside of her. So, and I know this is 1973, before stuff like that was written in, but Father Karras dies here. And that's why I'm like, wait a minute, he's in the third one. And I don't know if I'm ever going to watch the third one. Suppose I could, because they say it ignores the second one. So, but I don't know. And there's this really cool thing where Father Dyer shows up, and he grabs his hand, and he asks, questions like, do you want to absolve yourself of your sins? And he shakes, he's like, "Can you hear me?" And he does this like it's yes. And he goes, "You want to absolve yourself of all your sins?" And so then, he, basically lays him to rest. And it ends with a weird thing. Father Dyer shows up at the house. Reagan apparently doesn't remember anything, although, from what I know, the second film was bullshit. But probably this last part could have redated memory. I don't know. So they're going to leave. They're just... This baffles me. Your daughter was just possessed by a demon. And now you're ready to just move her, leave. Okay? Although, who knows if it's the very next day or not, because time moves so fast in this movie, because, we see Father Karras at the beginning of the film in Iraq, and by the time they go to contact him towards the end of the film, they say it's been 4 months. What? So this whole thing has been taking place over 4 months' time? 4 months? You've been letting your daughter be possessed for 4 months. You've been letting those doctors do those things to her for 4 months. So anyway, she doesn't remember anything, so the mom introduced her to the Father Dyer. She sees his collar, his priest collar, and she comes up and gives him a kiss on the cheek and a hug. And smiles at him and then goes, almost as like if she's saying thank you. Like she does know. But he wasn't either of the priests that were there. So maybe he's just like, it's for the church itself. I don't know. And that's how it ends. I liked it. I did. But, like I said, just because I like a film doesn't mean there's not going to be problems. I pointed out the problems, but I still enjoyed it. Was it a little hard to get through? Yes, mostly because I'm not one to watch older films. It came out in 1973, so it wasn't slow. It's a slow build. It's like Halloween. It's a slow build. You know, slowly going towards something. I'm thinking this is gonna. I'm thinking the whole movie is gonna be just them performing the exorcism, right? Because it starts with Marin there, and then they show a little bit of Karis, and then the movie thing, and then they introduce Regan. I'm like, okay, and then they show the Ouija board. I'm like, hey, that's how she gets possessed. Okay, and then let's get this going. And then it takes forever because they take forever to figure out what's going on and trying to deny what's going on. And by the time they finally actually decide to do something about it, there's like 45 minutes left of the film. I'm sitting there going, I don't think I'm even halfway through. And I checked the thing to see how far I was through, and I was like just a little bit over halfway through. So like, oh, okay. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I liked the acting. I liked the special effects. Especially the whole possessed Regan thing. Did they have this 12-year-old girl doing all this stuff? Because there's a scene with a crucifix. She's masturbating with the crucifix. And then she grabs her mother, shoves it in her crotch and says, "Lick me." And then she's yelling at one of the priests, "Fuck me, fuck me, fuck me," or one of the doctors, or whatever it was. I'm just like, I know they have a voiceover doing it, but is it actually the 12-year-old Linda Blair do it? I don't know. And then, of course, do you know what she did? Your cunting daughter. And your mother says cocks in hell. I did say the line. When she goes, "Your mother's in here with us, Harris," I went straight to Scary Movie 2. And I'm like, Mom, get out of there. Fun hater. I did do that. It's the first thing I think of when your mother's in here with us, Harris. Or Karis. It's Karis here. It's Harris in the other one. Your mother's in with us. Your mother's in here with us, Karis. Mom, get out of there. Fun hater. Oh no, I really enjoyed this film. There are some things that I, had to talk about that didn't make sense to me. But overall, I did enjoy it. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 because I really did enjoy it. Now comes the task of ranking the movies. I've done all 10 movies. Now I have to rank them. So look for that. And then, videos I've got coming up. Okay, I got the ranking for this. I'm going to start doing the, I'm going to do the first video that, the picking the 10 action movies for Pick 10 Action. I'm going to start Batman with the first 2 episodes of Batman 1966. So, yeah, and then I got a video, I just put together a shelf of DVDs, PG-13 and rated R, that I made, and I'm going to do a video. I'll be out in the living room, and I'll show you all the DVDs that are on there. Excuse me. And Tremors. Look, I announced that my next film series is going to be Tremors. Only problem is I haven't finished my other film series, and that's Hellraiser. I've been pushing it farther and farther because I do not like Inferno, but I need to finish that. So here's what I'm going to do. I have 6 Hellraiser movies left, and there's 6 Tremors. So I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to start with Inferno, and then go to the first Tremors, and then Hellseeker, Tremors 2, Deader, Tremors 3, Hellworld, Tremors 4, and I'm going to do that. It's Inferno, Tremors, Hellseeker, Tremors 2, Deader, Tremors 3, Hellworld, Tremors 4, Revelations, Tremors 5, and Judgment in Tremors 6. So, yeah. And of course I have Throwback Thursdays for tomorrow, which will be Vegas Vacation. Finish that off. And then Friday will be Flashback Friday, and I'm doing Gremlins 2. I did the first Gremlins for my Christmas reviews, so Gremlins 2. I'm like, what can I do from the 80s? Gremlins 2 is in the 80s. I just bought the double Blu-ray, so I watched that in HD. So, yeah, so that's what's coming up. So look for those. What are your thoughts on The Exorcist? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. I've been Scotty. I'll see you in the next one.